I went and loaded up a gun and sat at my table and was gonna kill myself.
I'm writing a suicide note, and at the same moment I'm getting ready to finish the suicide note, I get a text message from a dude I hadn't spoken to in years. And it's like, how you doing, kid? Yeah. So like, I didn't believe in God. Yeah. I didn't grow up with God. I grew up with hippies and outlaws, and it wasn't no God in my life.
The message of the movie is that God loves you and he's cheating in your favor.
Shia LaBeouf, Transformer star, Disney Channel star who became Hollywood's most unpredictable talent, Academy Award nominee by 27, box office gold who could command millions per film. But behind those red carpets and blockbuster premieres, Shia was drowning. Allegations, arrests, public meltdowns. By 2020, the world had written him off as another Hollywood casualty waiting for the final headline. If you've been with us on this channel, you know we've explored Shia's Hollywood journey before, but today we're diving into the moment that changed everything. The night he loaded a gun, wrote his mother a goodbye, and God showed up in the form of a text message. This isn't just another celebrity redemption arc. This is about divine timing so precise it defies explanation. This is about how God uses coincidence, synchronicity, and a stranger yelling at ocean waves to save a life. Let's get into it. Shia's sitting at home when an email arrives. The New York Times. Allegations that would end careers. The subtext was crystal clear. Your hustle's over. For a man who built his entire identity on being Hollywood's hustler, on always having wiggle room, that email was a death sentence.
I'm trying to come up with rationalizations and excuses, and I realize I'm shit out of luck and I have no more answers. There's no escape route. Your life is fucked. That's all I keep hearing. And you got to get the fuck out of here. And so I run upstairs, I get my gun, I come downstairs, I'm writing a suicide note to my mom.
I always had some wiggle room. Every time I would up, there was always some wiggle. There was always a Brad Pitt on the phone.
Straight up.
There was always some, like, you know, Sundance award.
Some next project.
There was always Alma. There was always another. There was always wiggle room to get back into ego. And this time there wasn't no wiggle room. That's why I attribute this woman with saving my life, because she destroyed any route towards that wiggle.
That's real.
It is real.
Rock bottom.
Rock bottom. Bottom isn't when you experience the worst moment of your life.
Definitely
Bottom
not.
is when you change.
That's right. It's when you actually, it's when you touch it, when you smell it, when it's right on your face
Yeah,
and you feel it.
and
It's not about severity of what the thing is. It's
about what you do with it once it happens. So like, once it happened, I mean, when it landed, I forgot how to breathe.
That's the key. No more wiggle room. For years, Shia had escape hatches. Another director willing to take a chance. Another award to feed the ego. Another role to hide behind. But that Times email closed every door. No more hustle, no more options, just a loaded gun and the realization that fame can't save you when the whole world turns its back. So here's Shia, gun loaded, suicide note half written on his phone, staring at an email that says, "Your life is over." Mom's name at the top of the goodbye message. And this is where God shows up. Not in a burning bush, not in an audible voice, but in the most 2020 way possible. A text notification from a number he hadn't heard from in years.
I'm writing a suicide note, and at the same moment I'm getting ready to finish the suicide note, I get a text message from a dude I hadn't spoken to in years. And it's like, how you doing, kid? And I spend, and I'm thinking, oh, well, now I'm stuck. I got to answer for this guy. And then I start writing, like, what's going on for me. And I'm saying, I'm out of here. My life's over. And his response to me was basically, it wasn't like cheerleader or like even coddling. It was like, oh, cool, tell me about it tomorrow. Like, he didn't play into my bullshit at all. He didn't play into the drama at all. It was really straight shooter style. He just said, cool, tell me about it tomorrow. And that bought me the night.
Let's pause on that. Tell me about it tomorrow. Not a sermon, not an intervention, not even sympathy. Just, cool, tell me tomorrow. This is divine mathematics. A man writing his suicide note gets a text at the exact moment from someone he hadn't talked to in years. Someone who knows exactly how to handle an addict's manipulation. No coddling, no drama feeding, just, you'll still be here tomorrow. That's not coincidence. That's God working through the ordinary. The text brought him 7 hours. 7 hours was long enough. Morning comes. Shia's still alive. The guy who texted says, "Meet me at Zuma Beach, Tower 20. There's an AA meeting," and that's where Shia spots him. What he calls the G-top of the meeting. The guy everyone respects. The man who went from smoking crack thinking he was a dragon to finding sobriety. If anyone can help, it's this guy.
So I see the top G in that room at AA, right? I'm like, oh, everybody respects this guy, you know? I'm like, oh, well, so I reach out to him. I'm like, hey, bro, what do I do? And he invites me to the same meeting my friend invited me to. And I wind up at this beach meeting. And the guy's like, well, you know, is your life fucked? His first question he asked me, is your life fucked? Yes.
Because that was a headline in there.
He knew, I knew, we just knew. But also that's how these steps work. He's like, so is your life fucked? You know, because if a guy's life, if he doesn't know his life is fucked, he's not going to do AA. He's not going to do 12 steps. He's not going to do nothing.
It needs to be on the floor.
He needs to know it's fucking done. So he's like, is your life fucked? I'm like, yeah, okay. He goes, do you have a problem with liquor and alcohol? Do you have a drug of choice? I'm like, I have a drug of no choice. Anything that makes me feel relief, I'm in, you know? Sex, money, power, liquor, weed, anything.
And if it
job,
empowers you and everything makes you forget about reality.
Anything, not even forget about reality, but anything that builds my ego.
This is the brutal honesty of recovery. You can't get help until you admit your life is completely fucked. Not struggling, not going through a rough patch. Fucked. Powerless. Done. And this top G, he's not interested in Shia's celebrity status. No special treatment. No Hollywood coddling. Just, is your life fucked? Good. Now we can start. They're on the beach at Zuma, waxing surfboards. Shia's on his knees, which, for a guy raised by a homophobic biker father, that's already uncomfortable. Then the top G says something completely absurd. Do me a favor, stop those waves over there. Shia thinks it's a metaphor. It's not.
He's like, all right, well, do me a favor, stop those waves over there. I'm like, what do you mean, stop those waves? What do you mean, like, what? I get it, I get what you're trying to do, and I'm like trying to play a couple steps ahead of him. And he's like, look, this isn't gonna work if you do that, right? AA is for a bunch of stubborn motherfuckers who do a bunch of shit they don't believe in so that their life gets better. Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you to do a lot of things that you think are bullshit, but I don't care if you think they're real or not. I just need you to do them. Right. I don't care how you feel, I don't care what you think, all I care about is what you do.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, bet. And I like the energy, you know, it's kind of, I need structure. I won't listen to anything else. So he's like, so stop those waves. And I go, you want me to like yell at them? Okay, cool. So I start yelling at the waves, stop waves, stop waves. And at first I'm kind of giggling about it. And he's like, no, louder, my boy, louder. And he's calling me my boy. So now I got this already in the first 20 minutes of knowing this guy, we got like something that feels like it's gonna work. Yeah. I don't know how much it's gonna work, but I'm feeling like I like his energy. He says, stop boys. I say, stop waves. And I'm yelling at the waves, and the waves obviously aren't stopping. And now I'm yelling at the waves, and I'm yelling and yelling. And this is a day out of getting ready to blow my brains out, so I'm having like an emotional reaction. But I'm also a manipulator. I'm an actor. So now I'm like trying to perform for this guy. Yeah. You know, so I'm crying and I'm yelling at these waves, but he's like, don't perform. Really try to stop them. So then the tears go away, and now I'm done manipulating, and I'm like, it's not working, you know, they're not stopping. He goes, exactly. So that's a power greater than yourself.
Here's what just happened. Shia's ego, the actor, the performer, the guy who knows how to manipulate emotion, tried to hijack the exercise. But the top G saw through it. Louder. They're way over there. And in that absurdity, yelling at the Pacific Ocean like a madman, something broke open. He couldn't intellectualize this. He couldn't act his way through it. He just had to do the ridiculous thing and trust the process. If you're still here, you're witnessing something profound. We're building a community on belief unfiltered, where stories like Shia's aren't just entertainment. They're lifelines for someone else fighting their own battle. What moment hit you hardest so far? The gun? The text? The waves? Drop it in the comments. Subscribe if you want more unfiltered faith testimonies. And share this. You never know who needs to hear it today. After that beach meeting, something shifted. Shia kept going to AA. He stayed sober. But when people asked about his higher power, the God of his understanding, he had an unusual answer.
'Cause a long time, a long time, it wasn't God I was praying to, and I'll get to that, but so
A higher power.
higher power, some people call it a doorknob, some people call, for me it was waves for like a year. It was just waves. So like I didn't believe in God. I didn't grow up with God. I grew up with hippies and outlaws, and it wasn't no God in my life.
Waves, not Jesus, not traditional prayer, waves. And that's okay, because God meets you where you are. For Shia, raised by outlaws with no religious framework, waves were the starting point. Waves were bigger than him. Waves pointed to something transcendent.
I like to be
people
immersive.
Yeah.
I like all immersive experience, not just acting. It's probably why I like Catholicism as well. I like all immersion. I like I like adventure. And that requires like full immersion. If you like immersive experiences and you get tasked with playing Pio, your life is going to change.
Living with monks, praying for hours, studying a saint who bore Christ's wounds. And in that monastery, surrounded by men who've given everything to God, Shia doesn't just play Padre Pio, he encounters the divine. One of the most powerful things Shia learned from playing Padre Pio: suffering isn't something to escape, it's something to offer. And when you do, it transforms from curse to gift.
I had no idea who I was previous. I mean, I was just living for more achievement, more goals, more animal instinct, pleasure-seeking, selfish, self-centered, dishonest, completely inconsiderate of other people. If I was a nice guy, it was for an end. I had no charity in my life. There was no, I was a tolerant man. These things aren't Christian. Tolerance is a strictly Jewish thing. Full-blown acceptance is a Christian thing. And when you really ride with that, life is a joy. It's a pleasure. Even the tough stuff feels like a gift. It's like a hack. It's like a complete suffering hack. So once you've gotten the hack, once you know how to pray the rosary, once you feel fully embraced by God, there is no suffering. I mean, even the suffering feels like a gift.
That's the suffering hack. Your pain has purpose. The gun on the table, the public shame. God uses all of it, not just for your salvation, but as a testimony for others still in the darkness. From a loaded gun to living with monks, from no God in my life to daily mass, from Hollywood ego to Catholic humility, Shia's still walking out his faith, making amends, including a 2025 settlement with FKA Twigs that shows his commitment to accountability. But here's what we know. God met him at rock bottom with perfect timing. Let's give Shia the last word.
What I would want people to take is the idea that you can hack your suffering, that your suffering is meaningful. It's actually a gift, that this kind of pain draws you away from worldly clamors and brings you closer to God. And if you can really heed that message, there's an incredible life on the other side, full of unbelievable joy and connection and purpose, the likes of which I never found in the Hollywood system or in the success animal-driven, animal instinct, pleasure-driven life. It's a bit like forgiveness. You don't feel forgiveness and then forgive a person. You forgive a person and feel the forgiveness. Suffering's a bit like that. It's, when you're in it and you have a really micro view of what's going on, there's no way you can enjoy it. But when you zoom out a little bit and recognize that you've been chosen, that you've been picked, that God's basically saying, come here, I love you. Once you can really like get down with that idea and fully adapt to that idea, it really removes suffering, which really is, I think, the point of Christianity. The point of Christianity is to be loved and to trust a power greater than you that can handle all of your problems. The message of the movie is that God loves you and he's cheating in your favor.